Well, do you plan to get back into the swing with your golf and tennis this spring? The weather is turning. It's almost time, but there are some exercises you can do now to avoid back or neck injuries. So Dr. David Rothbart and physical therapist Justin Keller are here with Spine Team Texas to talk about ways to protect yourself as you get back into the swing of your game. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you.
So what kind of injuries are we talking about? What are the most common injuries that we see with golf and tennis?
Far and away the most common, Rob, are simple strains and sprains. They sound simple, but they're very painful. Following that, discs and ligaments also.
Okay, so why is it that those are the injuries that are so common with golf and tennis? What is it about golf and tennis that makes those pop up?
Well, the few things that lead to it, I would say, first and foremost, is probably poor conditioning, inadequate warm-up, and just poor technique at times.
So part of it is us weekend warriors that think we can get out there and try to go a little too far, a little too fast, and aren't ready for it. Not that I would ever do that.
Exactly, and those sports require quite a bit of rotation in one way or the other. Our spine, if we're not conditioned adequately through our core, is very susceptible.
So the fact that we're doing a motion that doesn't occur in everyday life and that we're not built for, the core is not strengthened for, really puts us at greater risk when we're playing these games.
Exactly.
All right, are there some things that we can keep in mind to prevent that to avoid that risk?
Justin's going to help us out with that.
I say that as if I'm surprised that that's what Justin is going to show us. I knew that's why you were here, and I'm glad.
The most important thing is posture. So when you're looking at golf or tennis, you got to really look at posture. So if you're going to swing the golf club, you got to make sure you have good spine alignment, okay? So instead of being, this is the optimal position instead of being hunched forward like this. This would probably put more stress onto your back, which could cause an injury.
So not only does that help I mean, I know that's what the coaches tell us to help our golf game, but that also is what's going to protect our back.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, now what about tennis-wise? I see you've got the tennis racket there too. There's some other things there?
Yeah, same thing with tennis. In your ready position needs to have a good spine alignment instead of being slouched forward like this. So you got to be ready to play instead of being hunched forward.
So just be aware of your back position when you're playing these sports. You mentioned also that we didn't have the proper warm-up and the proper preparation. Are there some good warm-ups that we can do to kind of get ready to dive back in, especially when we're just starting out back at the beginning of the season?
Okay, so for golf, rotation is a key warm-up. So taking the club on your shoulders and rotating back and forth for a minute or two before you swing is important. And then for golf and tennis, putting your foot up on a step or a box to try to stretch your hamstrings. Your hamstrings are key muscles, and a lot of people have very tight hamstrings. Have a lot of flexibility through there. It allows you to have more motion when you swing. And just leaning forward is try to stretch the back of your leg here.
So really, even just a minute and a half of some brief exercise ahead of time, getting the heart rate up, getting the blood flowing, makes a big difference, you say?
Big difference.
All right, so essential stretches. Those are some good stretchability for flexibility. Let's talk about spot conditioning. Spot conditioning is another thing where there are some specific muscles that we want to target to make sure that we're not being put at risk.
All right, so for golf and tennis, rotation is a key way.
Oh, the doctor's getting in on
way
this.
to strengthen your
nice.
body. Okay, so for tennis, you're going to be looking at doing some rotation in standing position, so you can use a TheraBand or a tube, and you can just work on some rotation like you would on the tennis court, okay? Make sure you do both directions, this forehand and the backhand. And if you're going to look at golf, you might want to go from a high position to a low position, so you might be pulling down and across your body, just like you're going to strike a golf ball.
So you want to replicate kind of the motion that you'll be doing on the course, but doing it in a controlled way and in a way that gives some resistance before you get out there and try to be, you know, the next Tiger Woods on the course.
Absolutely. High repetition's the key. Golf and tennis is all about repetitions, so you want to be doing lots of repetitions, 30, 40, 50 repetitions with every exercise.
I remember when John Daly, as an Arkansan, of course, John Daly's a big golfing idol of mine because he could drive it so far, but they said he destroyed more backs in the country because every guy then went out and tried to hit it as hard and as far as he did and hurt themselves. If that happens, if we get a little overzealous and we find ourselves with an injury, what are some things we can do right away? I've heard heat, I've heard cold. What's from the doctor, from the source, what should we do?
Definitely ice. Let's clarify that myth. Sometimes the heat feels good, but you definitely want to get ice on it 20 minutes at a time, as many times as you can that first 24, 48 hours. Also an anti-inflammatory as long as you don't have problems with your stomach, such as ibuprofen.
So 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off, 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off with the ice.
That's right. And then if your pain persists for more than a couple of weeks, or you start noticing pain, weakness, or numbness down an arm or a leg, you want to seek out a center that specializes in spine that has many treatment options available.
So that's the key. If it starts to spread and move to other, it's time to call in some experts. experts.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for being here. This is good. Hopefully, we'll prevent some people from hurting themselves. I may just avoid exercise altogether to not risk it, but I really know. Thank you all so much for being here. If you want more information, if you think you may have done something, you've gotten a little overexcited, you can find out the healthy spine activities going on at spineteamtexas.com. You can also call one of their 2 locations for a consultation with a spine specialist, 817-442-9300 for South Lake, 972-772-9600 for Rockwall. Now over to Paige for some more golf.
Well.